Yes. Okay, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me for the webinar. And I was struggling quite a bit. What would be sort of the topic I would like you to hear from Estonia, from Tallinn University. I have been working as vice rector for sustainable development slightly more than 1 year, and mostly my time has been taken up by working on the crisis committee, the pandemic committee in Tallinn University to handle the crisis in all levels. Nevertheless, we have had interesting first challenges in Tallinn University to tackle sustainable development within or among the staff members and the university students. And I chose the topic how to make the change. It is, as my experience is, it is easy to put the change into university regulations and do the top-down approach for a huge organization as universities are. But how to make the change in the university, how to make the change in organization, how to make the change in the society is the key question, or the key question for us all. So it is a behavioral change, it's a lifestyle change, and it's a political change. So there should be like two big changes happening at the same time. Just before coming to this webinar, I was in Sweden listening to a webinar from about Swedish agenda for climate change, and this is exactly what the researchers and the politicians said, that we should have two big changes happening in a society at the same time: the political support or the political change and to support sustainable development, and also the change in the civic understanding. And that led me to a thought that how do we make the change? And I would here like to present something that Estonia is maybe particular about. And I would argue here that the changes, we are all sharing our experiences, how we make the change, but the changes are very contextual, based on our culture, our history, and the way our communities work. And of course, here I just put a sort of an intriguing slide from to start with Greta Thunberg's Facebook post in August, telling that that even we have the sort of the civic voice, the young people telling that we need to make the change, then we don't see the change happening on the political level, or it's not as quick as we would like it to be. And as the researchers or the scientists have told that it should be. So how to make the big change is the greatest challenge of all. And to show you what Estonia has done, what is the way, how is the way our small state work is one example is from 1997. When we talk about Estonia, it's 1.5 million people were living in a small territory. But what we are known for in the world is our digital capacity. So we had a huge change in the sort of strategic thinking in the state in 1997, when our president, Lennart Meri, declared that Estonia should make a tiger's leap. And by tiger's leap, we meant that we should have huge investments, strategic investments into all e-spheres in the world, in the economy, so that we would have a digital approach in all sectors of the state. So it has led up. So it was in 1997, and it has led up a success story for the whole world in terms of, for example, cyber defense. Which is something that Estonia has initiated in the world, as in NATO, and another thing that we are known for is the Estonia's e-educational tools, and the students in not only in high schools but also in regular schools are using digital devices on everyday basis. My child, who is 8-year-old, has Zoom. As we are in lockdown right now, she has Zoom lessons every day. She plays piano through Zoom, and so on and so forth. So it's a natural way of being. But it was a community, a state level change that we really wanted to make. Another thing that Estonia is known for, among ourselves in Estonia, but maybe not so much in the world, is that Estonia is a country that started a World Cleanup Day in 2019, and it was around 21 million people all over the world cleaning the earth. And it has a strong history of doing the community work together to do something good. We have every first weekend of May, to do all over state sort of campaign. Let's do it. And there are always more than 30,000 people doing something good, either for the community, for the environment. They come together, they select their own leaders, and they select also what they want to do. And then there are all sorts of events happening all over Estonia. And this is something that we've had more than 10 years already. And these activities, community activities, they are right now they are sort of hitting still records. It's not something that is sort of losing its ground. On the contrary, people are still very active about it. So what is our background? Our background is this is a song festival. That is it's held in every 5 years. There are about 30,000 people singing in the choirs, coming together, singing together Estonian national songs, and around 80,000 people looking it on spot in Tallinn, and also hundreds of thousands of people looking at it through television. And I think this is something that that describes our way of doing. We are doing it in a campaign form, and this is somehow how we can do it. I understand that my time is up, so I'm just telling our next steps. I was telling about the Tiger Leap, and here you see one new campaign that has been initiated on NGO level, and it's called Green Tiger. It's a stakeholder approach in order to make environmentally sustainable Estonian big Estonian companies, and they have a researchers panel voluntarily giving hundreds of hours for making that leap happen. This is something that we are doing. Of course, the small things that we have in the campus is also important. The discussions, the communication is important. But what I wanted to come to finally is a very new state campaign that that has just started 1 week ago, when our Prime Minister in her speech declared that now that we made the Tiger Leap, we should have ringed sea leap. Well, there's a huge story about the ringed sea leap living in the Baltic Sea and is becoming distinct because of the polluted Baltic Sea and so on. But the idea is that we should make another change in the society in a campaign form, and this is the environmental change. And here I see that the universities, again, as before, can help out to make this change in the community. So a huge campaigning way is something that is very typical to Estonia. So we have been behind in terms of sustainable development for political reasons, I would say. But I think that now the time is right to make the leap, and I'm sure that you will hear from us again. Thank you, and sorry for taking too much time.
Not at all, Helen. Helen, thank you so much for that presentation. It was fantastic to hear about what is ongoing at your institution, and of course the kind of the Tiger Leap as well. If you've got any questions for Helen, please put them in the chat box and Helen will respond on the chat function. So Helen, thank you very much. If I can ask you to stop sharing your screen, and what we'll do, we'll hand over to the next speaker. So I'm delighted to say that we have Peter, the Vice Rector for Research from the University of Belgrade. Peter, I'll hand over to you. You have 7 to 8 minutes for your presentation.